If you want more conventional wisdom on management, this podcast isn't for you. Throw away your so-called accountability. Throw away those 80s cliches. This is the On Purpose Podcast.
Hey everybody, this is Bryan McDonald with the OnPurpose Growth Sales Breakthrough Podcast. Today I have a friend, a mentor, a peer, John Gezik of Primetime Health Solutions here with me, and what we're going to talk about today is his story in regards to this type of sales mindset that OnPurpose Growth talks about, and really the topic, the full topic is how do you shift your mindset in a way that shifts your revenue in a positive direction. So John, thanks for coming out today, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks, Brian. Good to see you, man. Thanks for the invite.
Oh, yeah, man. This is great. So why don't you give a little bit background with everybody on Primetime Health Solutions and who in the world John Gezik is?
Wow. How much time we got?
Awkward moment of silence.
Yeah, right. There you go. So Primetime Health Solutions is a company that my wife actually started 4 years ago. She had a story about losing some weight to go on a vacation. We're going on a beach vacation, and she wanted to lose 10 pounds. So she found a couple systems and processes that worked for her, and she started telling people about it. One thing led to another. She turned it into a business, and she had a bunch of female clients. And I asked her about her business, and I said, well, how many guys do you have? Are you training and, weight loss coaching and lifestyle coaching? And she says, like 2% are men. And she couldn't figure it out. And I was like, well, that's pretty easy. No guy. Let's just say that weight loss for guys is totally different than weight loss for women.
Yeah, exactly.
And very few guys want to take, weight loss advice from, the cute blonde chick that only had to lose 10 pounds. Because guys have a different attitude. Guys think it's really easy to lose 10 pounds, and it is. I mean, we could, put the fork down for a couple of days, and that won't be a problem. So we joined forces, and then we created Primetime Health Solutions to offer the one-stop shop for total health solutions. And it's been growing ever since.
Awesome, man. So I appreciate you sharing that. And how did you get to Primetime's Health Solutions? What were you doing prior to that?
So I have a company that an environmental company. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
So I've owned that company for 17 years, and I've always kept it, low key. I didn't really want to scale it up and make it a huge business because I wasn't really passionate about it. Mm-hmm. I kept it low, so that way when quote unquote the right thing came along, I wouldn't have ties, or I wouldn't be regretful that, oh man, I got all this invested into it, now I can't leave it. So I kept it at a point where I didn't want it to own me. So I kept it portable where I could walk away. So as my wife Dana started developing Primetime Health Solutions, I started transitioning over. So we're in the transition process now where I could start focusing on Primetime and start, phasing out of my environmental company.
Awesome. And when we met, it was learning about this sales mindset, learning about how to approach things differently, and that's what you were in. You were in that environmental company.
Yep.
So, that's how we know each other. And maybe, as we dive into the topic of this whole sales mindset, help me understand kind of the before and what that looked like, and then the after this type of thinking was you were open to, and whatever you want to call it. But when this type of thinking changed things.
That's great. I was so when I was doing my environmental company, when I met you, I was doing it part-time because I had several other gigs going on, and then all of a sudden, just like that, my several other gigs dried up, and I had to take my environmental company, which was really just a hobby. I just kind of kept it. When the phone rang, I did it. So I had to take it from that to, oh crap, I need a full-time income right now. And I didn't have to do sales before. I ran an ad, had a couple referrals, so people would call me, and I just did the work. Mm-hmm. So to transition from that to, paying your overhead and, paying yourself, I had to do that as fast as possible. And I was I wasn't the sales guy, and I was panicky about doing sales because I just had so much head trash about sales guys.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I thought everybody was the car salesman guy.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh crap, I have to do this now to create an income. So then I met you, and then your thought process and the tools that you equip people with, and I was just like, I remember you and I talking about. I remember asking you. I said, dude, you have to teach me how to sell without being that sales guy, because I can't do that. It just bumped against my core value and what I thought a sales guy was. And you said, wait a minute, so you want me to teach you how to do sales without doing sales? And I said, yes, exactly. That's exactly what I need. And I remember you said, you know what, I might be able to help you with that.
Yep.
And that started the journey. And I had revelation after revelation, and I got more excited about learning a comfortable way that didn't bump against my core values, where I could actually offer a product or service to somebody where they really appreciated it, where I didn't feel like I was taking advantage of them, and created win-win relationships. It was phenomenal how you could create a business without risking a relationship. That was my main deal.
Yeah. Well, so it sounded like you went from an order taker to I don't know, I want to use the word trusted advisor, but that word is used a lot. More of a peer to your clients.
Yeah.
So they engage you.
Yeah. So it's funny that we talk about that. When I was doing it as a hobby, I always differentiate between being an estimator and being a sales guy. Mm-hmm. So an estimator will have the unit prices and have all everything all set up where you could almost give prices over the phone. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want to set up my business to be the big volume, low profit margin guy. I wanted to be the trusted advisor, like you talk about, where I could just make win-win relationships with everybody and not have a set price, where I could actually be the sales guy.
Did you find that you got paid more in situations like that?
Oh yeah. So it's and at first I was like, well, if you could do the project for this, why would you charge them this? Why would you charge them this plus?
Right.
And you just had to, one of the things I learned is you had to become comfortable with, charging a premium prices for your services and start, oh my gosh, getting paid what you're worth.
Yeah.
And it was phenomenal.
So was the mindset from that point one where you would say, this is what I'm worth? I'm selling what my time, what I'm worth, not what somebody else is determining it's worth?
Yeah. So when you're an estimator, you don't have so you just lump yourself on the pile with all the other companies. So you don't have anything that you do different. So you get to a point where you actually ask your customer, so there are guys that would do this cheaper, and I'm not sure why would you be willing to pay more, and to have that thought process, or I remember learning that stuff, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you would actually ask somebody that. I mean, why would you ask somebody that? And then once you're equipped with the tools on how to make that comfortable, then you really become the trusted advisor because you had the guts to ask that question to your customer.
So that's a great point. So let's talk about the mindset, the two different types of mindsets in that. So it sounded like there was a specific mindset that you had prior to when you were the estimator and the order taker. Describe that for me. So
when you're the estimator, that's a good question. When you're the estimator, you are getting work based on the mindset that you're the cheapest guy. And when you're the cheapest guy, eventually you come to the point where you have this ethical battle in your brain where you say, well, I could probably do it 5% cheaper, but now I'm cutting back my services or my safety or something is sacrificing. And then you're like, well, I need the project, can I do that? And then you start wavering about, how much you want to cut back to be the cheapest guy. Mm-hmm. Until you make that mindset where you say, you know what, not being the cheapest guy is okay. Mm-hmm. It seems like, it's a commodity. Sometimes what you do is a commodity and they just get one thing from another. Everything, it's like everybody's buying an orange. Yeah. Hey, how much is your orange? How much is your orange? How much is your orange? And then you get to a point where somebody says, how much is an orange? And you get to say, well, what kind of orange are you looking for?
Yeah, exactly.
And then that was just like, ding! That was the light bulb moment where you say, oh, wow, it's not all the same. It's not a commodity. So then you start differentiating yourself, and you have to pick what you want to differentiate yourself on. When you're an estimator, you want to be the cheapest guy, you want to be the best service, and you want to be the on-time, most accountable, most reliable guy. And you can't do all three of those.
And do you think those terms made you sound exactly like your competition?
Like everybody else. Everybody else. So when I decided to pick which one I was going to emphasize, I decided that I said, okay, I'm not going to go with the cheapest guy. I'm going to go with the best relationship and the best quality service, because I knew in my heart I wanted to develop a referral-based business. Mm-hmm. And you can't do that without a trusted relationship. Mm-hmm. So I decided to focus on that. And probably 4 years, I'm going to say 5 years later, I don't do any more advertising. I get all my business based on referrals.
And are you, within reason, are you picking and choosing who your clients are?
Absolutely. So there's clients that I actually refer to my competition. One of the big things how about that? I said, I'm going to put this guy out of business. One of the first things I did when I changed my mindset is I stopped doing free estimates, because people were I was going all over the place. Think about that. You're doing free estimates, and you're still the estimate. You're still the proposal guy. You're not the sales guy. So you're running around throwing proposals on the wall, saying, hopefully I'm going to throw enough proposals and do enough work where I could be the cheapest guy, where enough people are going to hire me.
Yep.
And then you get to the point where you're like, you know what? I did like 30 proposals this week, and there's always somebody out there that's going to be cheaper. Mm-hmm. And I didn't get any work. And I'm like, that's not the way to go. So I started charging for proposals, and that automatically weeded out a lot of people that were looking for the cheapest guy. Because people would say, well, I called ABC company, and they're willing to come out for free. And I would say something like, well, sounds like you found your guy.
Exactly, right?
Like,
waste
perfect.
his time.
And we're on the phone because,
right.
So that's great.
So did you see, going back to the estimator, cheapest guy kind of mindset, did you see that manifesting in other areas of your life that was causing trouble for you? Yeah,
that's a good question. So I would have that thought process shift this is, really a personal thing, just about who you are and what you're worth and what your value is that, you can separate yourself, and you can, be worthy of a premium because of the things that you do, and because of your integrity and your ethics and your you're treating every customer like this is your lifelong relationship.
Yeah. And
not going out, and two, you had to make a shift about not going out just looking for the money first. If you focus on the relationship, what I'm finding is that the money's come.
Yeah. So did it make interactions with people easier in your life, whether it was business or personal?
So it made me look at people differently, as far as not looking to get something from everybody.
Okay.
When I was going out doing proposals, I was actually trying to get something from them instead of trying to help them.
Yeah.
So as I started asking people questions and finding solutions for them, and it wasn't based on, the price, it made my job easier.
So it sounded like people realized you didn't have like this sales gun. You were just waiting to pull out and shoot them with it. You were actually trying to help them in what you may or may not be able to help them. They came to that conclusion.
That's right. Yeah. Once you develop the mindset that, when you go out looking for a fit, if your customers are a fit, where they believe what you believe, and you realize as you're talking to somebody that's not a fit, and you're willing to walk away from that project, even though that might have been money coming in, but it just wouldn't have been a good fit. Really, that develops. Even though you don't do business, you don't get a pay from that person. That keeps your mindset where, you know what, that wasn't a good fit. I didn't have to get every project. I didn't need that project, and that just opens the door for something. It leaves me free to go get the one that's for me.
So is what I hear you saying, the mindset feeds itself.
Oh, yeah,
it constantly builds on itself. Mm-hmm. Time after time to continue to produce the results you're looking for, and I'm going to put words in your mouth, but it's more of like when I choose to do work, I'm going to get paid for it. But there's times where I either can't help or somebody wants me to do work at a certain level that I choose not to do because my time's worth more time.
Absolutely. And most of that goes back to price. There's a certain set of people that are just looking for the cheapest guy. And if you develop a system to weed that out, so think about the fit. If a customer's looking for the cheapest guy, and you already decided in your business model that you are not going to be the cheapest guy, once you find that out, you'd be doing them a disservice to continue the conversation.
So that's why you have referral resources.
Hey,
you need this guy, right?
That's right. Yeah, you know who gives free estimates? Call this guy up. He'll run around all over the whole planet giving out free estimates.
Exactly.
Because he wants to be the cheapest guy.
Yeah.
So let him do it.
Let him do it, right? It's okay, right?
And I think we all, I don't want to say we all start off like, but I started off like that. I mean, when you start up a business, there's so much pressure and burden to bring in the dollar. I mean, I looked back at some of the proposals I did in 2000. So this is 18 years.
Yeah.
In 2000, I'm like, I wouldn't leave my house for that now. And I was doing projects for that. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. So your view of the world has changed, it sounds like. So and we've been kind of skirting across a couple things. So let's kind of dive into a couple things here, just to put some meat on, on the bones for people. So it sounds like a mindset that, a specific mindset technique, if you want to call it, that you come into these calls with is not having the actual solution prior to talking to somebody.
Right.
Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so especially with primetime, what we're finding out with that is that when we talk to people about, what their specific needs are, you can't go into the conversation saying like, I don't care what this guy tells me, I got the solution.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's just a bad setup. So the key that we found, Dane and I found, is that, the more we get to ask questions and the more we dig into the specific problem, the more we can create a trusted relationship. So sometimes people are looking for, I want to call the guy and I want the guy to, sign up as a client immediately. Mm-hmm. We got 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got that. I mean, I don't care what, think about that experience when the guy says, I don't care what your problem is, I got the solution. Doesn't that make it?
Snake oil. Snake oil.
Yeah,
right?
Just rub this, you'll be fine.
Yeah, right.
So, you can't go in with that attitude because everybody's problem is different. Their symptom that they bring you is typically on the start is a weight loss issue. I need to lose 5 pounds, I need to lose 10, 15 pounds. But if you spend time and you ask the right questions, or even just start asking any questions instead of saying, oh yeah, you need to lose 15 pounds. Oh yeah, don't worry about that. We'll help you.
I got the answer.
Oh yeah,
I got the answer. Yeah, I got the answer.
When you start talking to them about, what's up? Why? We talk to people that have 100 pounds to lose.
Really?
Yeah. We just had somebody that lost 100 pounds in 9 months.
Oh my!
Yeah,
gosh.
just by just really with nutrition, no exercise, just really nutrition.
No exercise?
No exercise.
Jeez.
So it's phenomenal. It's amazing what nutrition can do. But when that person comes to us, that 100 pounds didn't creep up on them last week, so they've been dealing with this for a long time. So I'm fascinated to find out. So why are you dealing with this now? What caused you to either pick up the phone or, follow up with us? Someone we might have talked to 2 years ago. Okay. So why now? Why are you calling me now? Most people, when they're in business like that, they never get to those questions. When someone calls you up and says, yeah, I saw your website, I'm ready to go. What most people say? Yeah. What's your credit card number? Yeah,
let's go. Right.
Let
me shoot you with my sales gun.
And that was a big mind shift for me. I wasn't taught. I assumed that as soon as somebody says let's go, you just stop everything and say let's go. But I don't know if that's going to be a good fit yet.
Right.
If the person wants to lose 100 pounds and they're not willing to change their eating habits, then I can't help you with that. So I still have to make sure it's a good fit. So as we ask people the questions about why they want to start, what they're looking to do, what have they tried before, what do they like about that, what didn't they like about that, and then you start asking, really why are you doing this now? And it's not really that, they want to lose 20 pounds, or if a guy says, my pants are getting a little tight.
Yeah.
sometimes so why don't you just go out and buy bigger pants?
I mean, that's a solution, right? That's a solution.
So
and oh, by the way, I sell pants. No. Just,
you got to go see Joe.
Yeah, exactly.
So sometimes somebody will say, well, I've done that. I started thinking about this when I was 36, and I thought about losing weight, and I said, I'm just going to go buy 38s. I mean, my personal story was 40 was the top. So I was in 38s, and I was about to go buy 40s, and I was like, oh, hell no. It's not going to happen. I am not freaking buying 40s. Because, my perception...
Were you in the husky section?
Sears husky. No, you're not fat. You're just a little husky, right?
Yeah, you're husky.
So the 40s for me, that was psychologically... Because my story about somebody that had 40s, they were fat. I mean, that was all my... Like, oh, my gosh. 40s was just like... That was just not an option.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I spent my whole life doing diet programs. I mean, I tell everybody, Brian, I lost 400 pounds. That's my story. I lost 400 pounds. And people go, no way, you lost 400 pounds. I go, yeah. I went from 180 pounds up to 220 pounds, back to 180 pounds, back up to 220. I mean, that's a typical guy story.
Yeah.
So, I've done that at least 10 times. So, think about that. That's 400 pounds in my adult life that came off, but it was the 40 pounds at least 10 times over. It was the same 40 pounds over and over again. So when somebody asked me, I mean, when Dana was really asking me questions about, when am I going to get started, my hesitation was, I've been doing diet programs forever, but I've seen people that she was coaching turn this into a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And that's what really got me excited about it. Knowing that I wouldn't spend 6 months of my life starving myself and then gaining all that weight back 4 months later, I was like, well, why don't I just skip all that and just stay fat? Stay
exactly.
Yeah.
It's easy
Why
to
go
be
through all
fat.
that hassle? Yeah.
Let's go to Dunkin' Donuts.
But once
again.
I knew that there was a sustainable solution, then I was like, okay, and that's when I started working out again. So
when somebody brings you like, hey, brings you a solution to the problem, right? I want to lose weight, and you start asking them questions about it. Do you find that you're actually helping them solve the actual issue so it sticks? I mean, is that kind of where you were going with that?
Yeah, so a lot of that is thanks, I got off track.
No, it's okay.
A lot of that is when you're asking somebody the questions, you realize that, the problem that they bring is never the problem. It's a symptom. I mean, typically, someone that's overweight or unhealthy, that's a symptom of something. Mm-hmm. And they're using food or for the wrong reasons. Mm-hmm. They're using it for comfort or for stress or for something like that. So a lot of times they don't realize that. They're just like, I tried all this stuff and I just can't do this. I can't stay with it. I can't stick with it. And when you start asking them why and what they get hung up on, you start realizing, and they start realizing that, this isn't really just a food issue. This is the ability for me to take a pause and realize, what am I trying to accomplish here by eating this pizza? Right. Or by eating this, what's going on that I could stop and control and maybe get that same result with something else. Mm-hmm. And people never really think about that because a lot of the times people are just eating, unconsciously just eating. They just eat. They eat when they drive, eat when they watch TV. I mean, it's just
Last
like
night I woke up with a Doritos bag in bed with me. I think it was Doritos in the middle of the night. No, that's a joke.
Yeah, you can blame that on your wife all day.
Yeah, I will. I do. So do you find that the mindset of asking these questions and not letting someone solve it immediately serves them better than it would just helping them solve it right away?
Yeah, probably the main thing that solves for them is that they start realizing that, hey, number one, this guy's different. Because, all these other programs that they've tried before, nobody asked them those questions. As soon as they said they were ready, they bought.
They just said, you're going to lose a lot of weight.
Oh, yeah, you need to lose weight? Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
4 pounds this week.
Don't worry about it. We got you covered. Don't worry about it. What's your credit card number?
Yeah, what's your credit? Your credit card's got you covered, right? Give me your number.
Right. But I haven't paid the last one off yet.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to still start something else. So then you start. We talked about separating yourself from the other programs. So then the customer starts realizing that, hey, these guys, oh my gosh, these guys actually care.
Yeah.
They want to know what I'm going through, and they're not trying to sell me something. And there are times where we talk to people, where we tell people, listen, I don't know if you're ready to do this yet. And if you would have told me that I'd be comfortable telling somebody that hey, that we would actually turn a customer away, I would be like, you're nuts. How can you turn people away?
Right. Well, it took a mindset.
It took a total mindset shift. And I see people that are in the health and wellness business that will never turn people away. A customer is a customer is a customer. And I really think they end up doing them a disservice. And we have a big retention rate because we have people not only working on their weight loss, but working on their mindset.
Oh.
Because we want people to create a long-term lifestyle change. We tell people, it's all over our website, this is not a diet program. You could lose weight doing anything.
Right.
But how do you create a lifestyle where you're not depriving yourself, where you're not feeling guilt about cheat meals, and how do you do all that stuff and still make this a lifestyle change to know that you're never going to have to go back?
So what is that? Helping people understand that, how does that impact your business in the long run?
So obviously, the longer you have customers, the longer the customer stays, the more they buy. I mean, obviously that's so the lifestyle solution creates a win-win situation. I mean, as they start learning how to change their eating habits and they have weight loss and they start feeling healthier. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be weight loss. It could be sports performance. Anything that they're getting improvements with. It's you'll create a lifestyle where they're attached to the new healthy lifestyle as much as they were attached to the old healthy lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And now they don't want to ever go back to the old healthy lifestyle, which is our goal for everybody, is to transition them into a healthy lifestyle that becomes part of everything that they do every day.
That's what we talk a lot about, is you become and you stay relevant to your clients, and the old way becomes irrelevant to them.
That's right.
Right? They disassociate with past programs, past service providers where, well, let me ask you this. After you walked into this mindset, how do you associate with the prior mindset?
So this is, and funny, I talked about this with somebody else. This is the whole genie out of the bottle thing.
Okay.
And once you develop this mindset, not only it's freeing, I mean, it is just, it totally relates to who you are and your being. So there's no sneakiness. There's total transparency. It's the opposite of what I thought sales was. And then you get that mindset, and then you see people doing it like you used to do it. People sell like you used to sell, and you just go, oh my gosh, I can't believe I used to do that. I mean, people call me up to sell me insurance, or even if you go buy a car, you're that's what I thought I had to be until I learned a different mindset.
Yeah, and no judgment. It is what it is. It's just when you, and I'm going to put words in your mouth, when you see this side of how I would say easier or more fluid it is, that seems the prior way seems like there takes more effort and more energy.
Right. You're exactly right. You know what this is? This is natural, because I think people just really want to. People don't want to walk around feeling guilty that they scammed somebody or that they sold somebody on something, or I got an extra 10%. They don't. Or I sucked a guy into this, or hey, we got another one. That whole attitude. I mean, that eats on you. I mean, that wears you down mentally. Where you get to a point where, do you really want to keep doing that?
Right. I mean, do you feel like you have to close a client now?
So I love, one of the great things I learned from your process is, about the closing process, is about how you really don't ever have to close somebody. I mean, it is so cool when we're on the phone with somebody talking about our programs and stuff like that, and we get to ask them, so that's that's our information, and that's how I can help you. So what would you like to do next? And they just say, well, how do I get started? I mean, it's never like, well, you ready to get while you're getting your credit card out, let me tell you about more features and benefits.
For the next 15 minutes, it's $20 off.
Yeah, that's right. And if you order now,
now,
just all that stuff. I mean, it's so cool to get to a point where people say, can you help me? I'm ready to go. After the conversation and after we know it's a good fit, I mean, there is no close. People close themselves because you put them in a position where you offer them the ultimate solution for what they're looking for.
So do you feel that you have to convince anybody of anything anymore?
No. So I should take that back. The one thing you have to convince somebody of is that this is the thing that we run into, is that people tried so many different things before. They come in with a mindset that this is just going to be another thing. So if you don't take the time to ask all those questions and let them know that, hey, we're not trying to sell you something. As a matter of fact, if this isn't a good fit, we're not going to let you buy anything. Where they get to a point where they say, oh, you know what? This isn't exactly the same as I've done before.
Right.
This is going to come with a mindset, and you get them to realize that, you know, the missing piece was our team, our community, our coaches, and our long-term game plan for somebody to make this a lifestyle change, and not just be on a diet.
Yeah.
So that mental shift for people, I think that makes them feel comfortable to say, yeah, you know what, this is what I'm looking for. And we have people tell us that all the time. So, you know, I'm home. This is what I was looking for. Or you guys developed exactly what I was looking for, and I didn't know I was looking for that until I talked to you. But that's exactly what I'm looking for.
So let's talk about that. That was interesting. So they realized that at some certain point that you offered them something that they were looking for that they didn't realize that they were looking for that.
Yep.
Let's unpack that a little bit.
So think about that. When someone comes up to you with what they think the problem is, I'll just use that 20-pound loss analogy.
Yeah.
So they think that it's a 20-pound loss, and for some reason they just can't get over the hump. They just can't stick to something, and they think it's the program. So they'll go to another program, or they'll say, you know, this guy has different products, or I'll use, you know, that product didn't work, I'm going to use this product. I mean, a great analogy is the golfer who really is just not aware enough at his lack of skill, or that he's missing something, that just keeps going buying new clubs. Oh, it's the club. I got to go buy a new club, or these clubs suck. Well, you know, after about 6 sets of clubs, maybe you start scratching your head and say, you know, maybe it's not the club.
Maybe it's not the club.
Yeah, maybe it's not the club. And I think one of the things we do at Primetime Health Solutions is we help people realize that, yeah, you know what, there might be better programs out there that you tried, you know, and now we have an ultimate program. But the ultimate program that we offer is because we deal with the mindset of the golfer to help his clubs work better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So that's a key separation that we love to do. I mean, even if you go to our website and you fill out a form, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put you in touch with a conversation with a coach. You are going to get on the phone with somebody, and we are going to have a conversation about what we just talked about, what you've done before, because it has to be a good fit. It has to be.
So if you think back to, in regards to when you were the estimator, lowest price guy, or trying to be, did you feel that it wasn't you that needed to change, you just needed smarter clients?
That's a great thought process. I just the clients that were looking for the cheapest guy, I mean, I understood what their motive was, because you know, it was a different situation with the environmental company.
Yeah.
Some of the people didn't care about the quality of the work. You know, they were selling their home. They just wanted to get out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so so I had to decide that wasn't my client. So the sellers weren't my client. The buyers were my client. The guy that's going to live there after the environmental hazard is taken care of, they want to make sure that it's done right because they're moving in there with their kids. The sellers didn't care about that. With Primetime Health Solutions, so we have people make an investment when they start. They have to be ready to make an investment with their health. So there is a qualifying thing to make sure they're ready. But you know, some people aren't ready when they start, but they know this is the program that they have to do. So they're just not ready. So they might wait a month or two to figure out how they want to approach it, and at a level that they feel comfortable getting started. But they're ready to get started. So it separates us from, you know, having people have that, you know, the cheapest guy mentality. Typically the cheapest guy that they started with before, they're realizing that, you know, maybe that's why it was the cheapest guy.
Exactly, right? You know, a lot of times we talk to our clients about how you're looking for the right type of client, and having the mindset of defining actually who that is, and talking people through it and figuring out who is this person. So in, you know, it sounds like you have that very defined now in Primetime, and in the environmental company, you began to realize, like, the cheapest people, that's not my customer, and this is what my customer looks like. And no matter when somebody came to the table and said, hey, I want to know if you can do some work for me, your first instinct was, okay, let's figure out what buyer this is, right? Which side did they sit
That's
on?
right.
Right? Yeah. And not taking every opportunity for, oh my gosh, I got money on the table. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Whatever you need,
I got it. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, that's I don't know if it's a maturity process. Sometimes if you set up your business model that way, I mean, there's plenty of guys in the environmental industry that their business model is, we're going to do, every time that phone rings, you're going to close the deal and we're going to do that project.
Yep.
Some of the business models, they have it, we're just going to do enough work because we got guys sitting at home, we just want to keep them busy, and if that keeps them busy, and
that's fair.
That's one way to do it.
That's one way to do it. Yeah,
so true. Go ahead, you can do that way.
Yeah.
But with Primetime Health Solutions, people come to us, they're looking for a solution, and we just got to make sure they're ready.
Perfect. Well, as we wrap this up, is there anything that you want to share with the listeners out there in regards to this mindset that we may have not covered? And it's okay if not. I just want to open it up to you.
No, so I think the most important shift that I made in my mindset, you don't have to get every person is not your customer.
Yep.
And you're going to get to a point where you're only as good as the customers you say no to.
Okay.
So, because there's some people that are not going to be a good fit for you. Because I tell you, when we first started, we agreed to coach some people that weren't ready, and that we probably shouldn't have coached. That, you always have that customer that's, you have the easy customers that are easy to work with, and then you have to. I mean, if you have to sell somebody on the initial startup to get started, then everything's a struggle after that. And then you're going to have to talk to them about maintenance, and then they're not going to get results, and then. I don't want to say it's going to make you look bad, but the last thing we wanted was people saying, hey, I worked with Primetime Health Solutions and it didn't work.
Exactly.
I mean, we don't want that. So one of the best ways to avoid that is just to screen people on the front end and accept the fact that not everybody's going to be your customer. But the people that are ready to be your customers, we're in the business of creating walking billboards for our company. It is so cool that somebody could walk up to somebody and say, dude, you look phenomenal.
Yeah,
or,
right?
Hey, girl, you are. Ooh, girl, what are you doing?
I don't think you say that much.
And to have that, and to just think about that, to have work with somebody for a month or two that has a self-image issue or whatever, that's wanted to achieve some goals and they're worried about how they look, and the first time they have someone walk up to them and say, girl, what are you doing? I mean, can you imagine the person's face just lights up?
Yeah.
And then they get to say, oh man, I'm a part of this awesome community at Primetime Health Solutions. I mean, that's what it's all about, man. That's what it's all about.
Well, I appreciate you sharing. I appreciate you being on here today. Can you just tell people the website if they want to get a hold of you or check out Primetime? Because we talked about it a lot. So people are probably thinking right now, what the hell is this? And how can I just research John? Right.
So you'll go to thisisprimetime.com, and you'll see our community. You'll see a whole bunch of stuff. So we got a community. You'll see my wife Dana and my profile up there. Our story. You could see my before picture, or actually we say then and now pictures because it's not a diet.
Yeah.
So there's not before and after. So you can see my then and now picture and my phenomenal wife's then and now picture. And you can see some of the stories, read some of the stories, look at some of the pictures. It's just phenomenal. If you want more information, I mean, the next step would be for you to fill out the form, and then we get on the phone with either me or Dana, or we set you up with one of our coaches to have a conversation to do exactly what you and I just talked about for the last 20 minutes.
Cool. Perfect, man. Well, I appreciate it, John. And I appreciate you coming on here. And everybody listening, keep plugged into the OnPurpose Growth community. Just as John's building a community, we're also building a community through this podcast. And we'll see you next time on the Sales Breakthrough Mindset podcast. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the OnPurpose Growth Podcast. Let us know what you thought in the comment section. For more from OnPurpose Growth, go to onpurposogrowth.com. Subscribe here at BLTV for all of our content, including the daily Learn About Law podcast, Seize Your Business, Making Real Estate Fun, and Logical Logistics podcast, brought to you by O'Flaherty Law. Thanks for listening.